For me personally, I think this is the album where we sound the closest of how we really want to sound.
So, Robin and Lela, thank you so much for your time today, especially today. How dare they, your PR team, booking interviews until the day before you're releasing your album? Like, they should just give you some time off so you can chill out. That being said, how are you doing today?
Yeah, pretty well, I'd say. We had a good rehearsal yesterday to prepare our album release show on Saturday. So this went very well. So feeling good.
All right.
Absolutely. And no worries, we don't have time to chill out anyway. So the day before the release, there's so much going on here and much stuff to do.
Exactly. You already mentioned it. We're going to have a release show on Saturday. Tomorrow, the album will come out as we're recording this. This conversation won't be live today. So in today's day and age, an album release day means basically you're on your phones the entire day, responding to comments and posting on social media and all that kind of good stuff. Is there anything else that you guys are doing for the band or for yourselves to make tomorrow a little bit more of a joyous occasion, or do we have to wait for Saturday?
Well, we're going to wait for Saturday with this one. We had a funny thing going on when we released Solace and all the singles from Solace. That was during the pandemic, and we all had to stay at home. So the night before the release of a single, we all met through Zoom and celebrated the singles together. We didn't do that now. Why? I'm wondering why. That was cool. But now we're going to celebrate on Saturday. So it's better in person.
Yeah. And I think this time so much more going on. Like, we've been on tour a lot, and a few of the singles were released while we were sitting in the tour bus. So
yeah. There's been a lot of change in the band, obviously, for people that have been following the band. This is your third album. The first album takes the longest to make. The second album's often the most hard one to make because there's time and pressure and expectations. The third album defines the sound of a band. It's the number of the beast. It's the master with puppets, right? Master of puppets. So should we look at this album as well with the changes that happen in the band? Like, is this the album that we see the true voice for VENUES?
It's hard to tell, but I'd say from now on, I would definitely say yes. Because for me personally, I think this is the album where we sound the closest of how we really want to sound. I think that's a statement I can live with right now.
There you go. Quote of the day. Now on this album, and your sound, you're one of bands in a new wave or a new generation of bands that are not afraid to color outside of the lines. You're bringing lots of different influences into your sound. There is an industrial touch as well that we see across the world with bands like Infected Rain, Eve Under Fire in North America, or Stitched Up for Heart as well. That's exciting. You also know that you're going to have to deal with a legion of gatekeepers that before they listen to the album are already going to say like, I don't think it's metal and all that kind of bullshit. You fit in with a lot of different acts. So you can play with a lot of different bands. You can play for a lot of different audiences because of different influences in your sound. Now, you've been on the road a lot, Robin, as you said. Do you see different reactions from the crowd depending on which bands you play with? Because you could play with a hardcore band, you could play with an industrial metal band, you could even play with, a technical death metal band if you wanted to. So those are very different crowds to play to. Do you see a difference in reaction?
I would say it depends on if it's a festival and we're the only band that doesn't fit exactly in the kind of genre, then you see a different reaction than to other festivals. But most of the time, it's just awesome to see that people can celebrate through music in general and not being so focused on just one genre.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool to have people in front of the stage that are just as open to music as we are. And yeah, that's cool. So most of the time it's like that. You don't see any difference in the celebration of the fans.
It also always depends on where are you playing right now, because every city is different, I'd say. And I think also the age of people is playing a big role. Like sometimes if we play like more, I'd say, yeah, like classic rock, old school metal festivals, then you, yeah, have a little bit older people compared to shows with, yeah, I don't know, like the younger scene bands where you have a lot of full tattooed young kids in front of the stage who love to run around and mosh. So yeah.
Is today a better time for venues to be out there than 10, 15 years ago? Like, has the metal scene have to go through that change? Did we need that new generation of full body tattoo kids that seem to be more open-minded than the average metalhead 15 years ago? Like, do you think if this album would have come out 15 years ago, it would have gotten the same response?
That's a good question. My first thought was, I think we wouldn't have the chance to have any kind of, I'm missing this word in English. Am I dumb? Erfolg. What's Erfolg?
Success.
Success, yeah, that's what I thought, what I searched for.
It's a word that we usually don't use so often, so.
So just wait until after this album comes out.
Yeah, I think we wouldn't be as successful as we are today 15 years ago, because they were, well, I feel like, I don't know, I wasn't, well, I was alive back then, but I wasn't as active in the music as I am now. But I feel like, yeah, even myself, I was not as open-minded as I am today when it came to music. And I thought that, yeah, you can only do metal if you do it the exact way, and everything else is just dumb and nobody wants this. And I'm pretty glad that I changed myself, and that the whole scene seems to be still changing and opening up.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely what Lela says. But on the other side, I think, I mean, if you look back 15 years ago, I think the market wasn't like flooded that much like we have it nowadays, where we have like a lot of bands. There were like less bands, and it was harder to get a band running, like to do all that stuff, get your technical gear, know where to produce your songs, find people who shoot a music video. Nowadays, yeah, you can find it everywhere. And a lot of, people just have the technology to just do it.
There are some special people that stand out, and in your case, that is Christoph from Annisokay, who you've worked with again, and he doesn't just work with you guys, and besides Annisokay, works with a ton of bands. Just think of Set Your Sails and Caliban and what have you. Does he get enough credit for what he's doing in the German scene right now? Because it feels like every German band that has somewhat of a modern sound that I talked to in the last 2-3 years says like, so yeah, we called up Christoph and he helped us out. So what's what has been his role, and what should people know about him?
I would say he's definitely one of the big names in the whole music scene. I mean, he's playing in Annisokay, where he's doing an incredible job, and all the songs and the band in general is so good. And when it comes to his job as a producer, we are like 100% happy with him. That's why we continued working with him. Everything's just awesome. I think we all love it to hit his studio every 2 years and just be there. He has a cool team. It's always a chill vibe over there. And I mean, he's a super experienced songwriter, so he really knows. If he's listening to stuff, he's like, I would maybe change this a little bit here and this a little bit there. And it's like, wow. And just sounds 10% better or something like that. So he just has a lot of experience, and he just has the ears of a real producer.
Robin, Lela just said that 15 years ago she may have not been as open-minded about music herself. This mentality of like, let's listen to what somebody that really knows his stuff has to say about it, and let's take some feedback. Is that something that for both of you comes? Is that something you've always had, or is that something like the openness in music that it comes easier now than 10, 15 years ago to let somebody else give some opinions and change based on feedback?
Well, like I said, for me, it was a development through the last years. Since I definitely was not that, well, maybe I was that open-minded, but I was too afraid to be my true self and to tell people that I actually listen to that and that kind of music, because I was afraid of the feedback from them. Yeah, that definitely changed for me, and I'm pretty happy about that. I don't know what it was like with Robin.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least that I always try to adopt opinions from the outside. I think especially in the early days when we started working with Christoph, when we had a whole different lineup in the band, I was the one who always said like, guys, please trust this guy. He knows what he's doing. And I think the rest of the band back then, Lela wasn't in the band then, they were like, I'm not really sure. We don't want to sound like Annisokay.
Right.
Yeah, like comments like that. And I think I was always, fighting internally for Christoph to, bring as much input as possible without changing the sound of VENUES, of course, but helping us to find our sound.
Overall, maturing and change seem to be key themes in this album, but despite of some of the colorfulness of the music, not sure we're getting a whole lot of light at the end of the tunnel on this album. Can we find some positivity, or is this album really like, hey guys, everything's shit, let's try to be better, but not sure that we're getting to that stage just yet? Am I completely off with that interpretation, or is there some truth to that?
That's hard to say. I wouldn't say that the whole album is about everything being shit, but it's full of songs that, or maybe let's take Reflections. Reflections is about reflecting on yourself, and a big part of that is accepting who you are at this exact moment, and being okay with who you are without having to change anything. So that would be something positive to get to know yourself better, and to get to accepting yourself with everything, the whole package. But on the other hand, not every song is about personality in this album. We have wrote some songs that are about a rather serious topic, for example, Braille, or Radiate Me, or Coming Home. That is not about about yourself. So it's about having issues with, let it be a sickness, or having issues with the industry of animals and how they're treated. This is what Coming Home is about, and Bad Karma also. So all in all, it's, maybe you can say everything is shit, but you still have the chance to make it a better place, to make the world a better place, to make yourself a better self from now on, and just to work on yourself, but with accepting who you are at this moment.
It's very much a start of a journey, this album feels like. Maybe also aligned with the start of a new era for the band, but the journey isn't over, or the fight isn't over, in a way.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned one particular song that for me definitely stood out, Coming Home. In fact, the last two songs combined for me, I think is the most interesting part of the album. We first have Cravings, which is the second to last time. Coming Home is the last song. Cravings shows you at some of your heaviest sides, and then that is balanced out or countered with Coming Home, which is I thought a really cool 1-2 punch on the album. That song Coming Home also, I'd love to see you guys play that live, but I could also see you guys play that as the show's over and you guys are like on a line taking a bow and interacting with your fans one last time when that song is playing. Like, should we expect to see that song in some way, shape, or form part of the set list? Well,
Maybe you can see the little piano behind me.
I can.
I'm not going to say anything more.
Okay. Well, let's just completely change into, or not change, but go down the path of live shows. You were gonna have this release show on Saturday, but you're gonna be busy. You're gonna be playing a lot of shows this year. So yes, you've got 2 older albums as well, but you have a new album to promote. The new album is aligned with a new era of the band, new lineup of the band, all that kind of good stuff. So without giving away too many secrets, Lela and Robin, but we know there's a piano in your room. What could we expect this year from shows of venues?
Yeah, I mean, song-wise, we will definitely put our focus on the singles from the Transience record. But we know that there are a lot of people out there who also like our previous singles. So I think we found a pretty delicate selection of also previous singles that we will bring with us. I mean, we have a few songs which are, I think, maybe one of the most famous ones from us. So we have to play them live, of course. We don't want to disappoint anyone here. But yeah, as said, we will definitely put the focus on the Transience singles. I'm trapped in this system, feels like what I'm building will become my prison. I'm trapped in...
Do you notice that the older stuff with the new people on board, like every song always changes? Once you release a song on an album, like that song never stays the same. Iron Maiden these days, play songs much slower, and in the 90s they played every song much faster than they were on record. Have you noticed with the change in the band that those classic hits, let's call them, of the previous albums, that they've changed quite a bit as you're playing them live, or are you doing your best to stay as close to that old sound?
I mean, actually, we play these songs like as close as possible to the recorded version, but of course we have like a few changes. For example, the Fading Away song, it has a feature with Christoph Wieczorek on it, and this one, for example, the clean vocals are sung by our live bass player Dennis, who's doing a fantastic job here. So we have like these small adjustments to make it just cool and giving them our own interpretation with the current lineup. But I think if you know the songs from our Spotify and you're hearing them live, you will pretty fast realize that this is the song. Because it doesn't sound totally different.
Now, you mentioned Spotify. Spotify allows you, and every other social media platform, to track very easily where your listeners are, what they listen to, and so on. A lot of the content you guys put out is definitely focused on the German market first and foremost. You guys put out a lot of social content in German, but as you're looking at these numbers, are there things that surprise you? Like, how many people in, I'm just going to say Singapore listen to your songs, for example? Because the beauty of technology today, back to what Robin was saying, like today you've got tools available that you just didn't have 15 years ago, also means that your music travels much faster beyond the borders of your own country. So what's that been like for you?
I can answer maybe, Lela, maybe you can add some stuff. I'm checking a lot of these analytics and data and numbers. And yeah, it's crazy because we have so much listeners from the US, which especially in the beginning felt pretty strange because I'm always thinking like, okay, there are so great bands coming from the US. Why is anyone in the US listening to our German post-hardcore, metalcore, whatever? And that felt kind of cool. But I wouldn't say, I mean, if I check like the top countries from our Spotify, for example, we have the most fans or listeners coming from Germany, the US and the UK, which is, I think, kind of normal if you do that kind of music and you're getting a little bit bigger. I think what really feels weird to me is if we are getting merch orders from like Japan, Australia, Canada, because we have to pay so much shipping for this, like maybe one shirt, but somewhere over there is a person who really wants to wear our shirt, which for me really feels great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a realizing moment where you think, okay, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Maybe you are the favorite band of someone from other side of the planet. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I think there's only one way to find out, Robin and Lela, and that's you guys book a US-Canada tour. And with some of the bands I mentioned earlier, there's definitely an appetite for that music. I know how expensive it is these days to travel or to tour in North America as a European band. But the good thing is, once you do it once, in the time that your visa allows you to, you just have to squeeze it as much as you can and do 3-4 tours back to back, like we see European bands do right now in North America.
True.
It's the same few bands that come back over and over again. All right. Well, Robin, Lela, I want to wish you, first of all, as hectic as it should be and as quiet as you want it to be tomorrow, when you are on computers and cell phones and what have you, interacting and liking and commenting with all the fans that are exploring the full album for the first time. And then I obviously wish you a wonderful release show on Saturday, and I'll keep my fingers crossed to see you on a stage, whether that is in Western Europe or in North America. We'll leave that in the middle right now for the remainder of the year. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, fingers crossed, and thank you so much for having us.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.